It is thought that honey wine was the first beverage used by humans. Honey wine is obtained by fermenting diluted honey for a while. Therefore, honey wine, or mead with its abbreviated name, is probably a drink that was made before the invention of fire. It is understood that beer is made before wine. The history of wine is as old as the history of humanity. Grape seeds found in archaeological excavations show that wine was produced 8,000 years ago. It has been determined that the first viticulture and wine production was made 6,000 years ago in the Zagros Mountains. Wine is in mythology. During the Great Flood, Noah's Ark landed on Mount Ararat. It is reported in the Torah that he wrote, "But Noah was a farmer, tilled the land, planted vineyards and made wine." In the Hittite and ancient Greek civilizations, wine became an important cultural phenomenon. Egyptians, who learned viticulture and winemaking from the Hittites, also produced wine during the Pharaonic period. The Egyptians would write the vineyard, harvest and producer of the wine on the wine jars. In the Egyptians, wine was made in wide-mouthed jars, the bottom of the pots was plastered with a layer of resin, or a piece of resin was thrown into the vessel to make the wine more durable. The mouths of these wine jars were closed with a layer of clay or lime and the brand of the wine was stamped on their lids. The Babylonians passed laws regulating the wine trade. Because the Babylonians loved wine, it is known that their famous king, Hammurabi, mentioned wine in the law books and Hammurabi made laws regarding the consumption and trade of wine. In Jewish history, the prophet Moses was looking for a place to settle with his people after he left Egypt and was freed from captivity. It is stated that the envoys sent by Moses brought not only figs and pomegranates, but also grapes from the Promised Land. The Romans used to add fragrant flowers, fruits, resin and honey to their specially prepared wines after they were cooked on fire. Wine has held an important place in people's lives throughout history, along with the transition to ancient Greek civilization and Roman and then Christian culture. It is a known fact that in classical antiquity, wine took place in all family life, societies, holidays, worship and ceremonies. It is also known that in ancient times there were wine gods and temples built for them. These gods are known to have existed in both Greeks and Romans. The foundations of today's wine technology began to develop in Europe in the 16th century. Since wine was considered a sacred drink in Christianity, churches and monasteries played an important role in the development of winemaking techniques. Especially in the Middle Ages, when the papacy gained great influence, viticulture was carried out on the large foundation lands of churches and monasteries, and the grapes produced were used to make wine to a large extent. The wines produced were not only used in religious ceremonies, but a large part of it was sold to generate income for churches and monasteries. In this context, the priests had extensive knowledge of viticulture and wine technique. Currently, wines produced in monasteries in Europe excel in quality.